Hello, and welcome back to the Simplifiers podcast, where we take topics in work and in life and simplify them. And friends, we're talking about a little bit different side of employee experience today. And before you tap out and go, oh, not very exciting for me, actually, this is a part of employee experience that literally every single person touches. It's your tech. It's your digital tools. It's the software that drives people crazy, possibly, if it's really outdated. It's the digital employee experience. So we're simplifying how to make work tech better. And I'm really excited to introduce to you today my guest. His name is David Noe, and he's an HR leader at Payroll Partners. He's also the host of Speakeasy HR, which is a live, unfiltered conversation series with leaders shaping the future of work. So I'd like to welcome to the Simplifiers podcast, David Noe. Hey, David.
How you doing, Mary?
I am so good. And I'm really glad to talk to you about this because let's face it, when your digital tools suck, there is like nothing worse at work, right?
It is never fun when you're stumbling through a day of frustration and all you want to do is have something work and get to where you want to click to and get to who you want to talk to. And most days that doesn't happen.
Amen to that. I just need an answer or I just need the thing to work, right? So let's start simple. When you say digital employee experience, what does that actually mean to you?
It starts with the recruiting process, the onboarding process, and what that looks like from an employee's perspective and how easy it is to navigate through just to apply for a job. So think about the last time you applied for a job. How easy was it? Did it take you 10 minutes? Did it take you 20 seconds? And we see that all the time in frustration with the applicant. So that's step one, is to make that experience very seamless and easy for somebody. Then you get a job offer and you have to sign all the paperwork and you get into the ecosystem of the company. How easy is that? It's a lot. When someone takes on a new job, it's a lot. You're changing your daily habits, your daily routines, who you talk to on a daily basis. So having an experience like that with the digital world, especially people working remote, it's gotten even more challenging. So in our world, it's really about, making it easy, making it simplified, making it tools that people can navigate and find the answers when they have questions and they're going through training. Mm-hmm. So it's wrapping all that up and really making, at the end of the day, people excited to come back to work on Monday morning, right?
Yeah.
I have the Sunday scaries, but
I meant all of that. And I just feel like with digital employee experience, it's all of the tools that an employee uses at any given moment throughout their workday to get the answer they need or to do the work that they need to do, right? It's the systems they rely on. And, I imagine it's all about reducing the number of clicks to get to whatever answer you need as well, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. For some people, you can just get a magic wand and just make everything go and disappear when you're trying to use all these systems and all these apps. But unfortunately, we can't just wave a magic wand and make everything, perfect in our digital world. So.
Yeah, I wish we could. So where are you seeing the most friction in the workplace technology today? What's your thoughts on that?
Too many platforms, too many systems that don't integrate together. And I have seen it for the last 4 years where I'm at, how to simplify it with a company that has really added on systems and no one is the system administrator. No one's implementing it right. They just add a system and add a shiny tool and they add this and that. And then they have 17 systems. You don't even know how to log into half of them. So I think finding a way to make it work for a business and how they are trying to use systems effectively, from benefits and payroll and a 401k and recruiting. I mean, it's all got to integrate together. And if you can do that, you're going to save yourself a lot of frustration.
Yeah. And when I think about that, I think about the company's tech stack, right? That's the fancy technical jargon for it if you're not in IT. But it's like, what are all of the software tools that any given department or individual at our office uses in any given day, right? And I sometimes wonder if So let's say you're also a smaller business, right? You don't have a dedicated IT professional on your staff. So one person over here goes, oh, we really need this bright, shiny tool, this new AI tool. So let's just do that. And this other person's got this other tool. And like no one is that centralized person that's looking at the tech stack and auditing it on a regular basis.
Right.
What would you
Right.
say to those folks that are a smaller business that doesn't have that?
So, a couple things. I think you have to look at the way AI is being integrated into systems and really go back to the companies you're currently using and asking them how are they integrating AI and what are they doing to make the experience easier. I was just in our software that we build and customize yesterday, and a client was asking about where can I find my pay stubs. The employees were like, where can I find my pay stub or my PTO balance? And instead of having to go to the HR department to ask that question, they go into the AI tool and they just say, hey, where can I find this information? And it says, here's your PTO balance and here's where to find it. Here's how to request a day off. So you don't have to be a large organization with thousands of employees to have that kind of tool. So some people like it, some people don't. It's all a matter of what's going to make your team use the system effectively so that you're not getting those same questions every single day and really delaying the process of someone getting the answers.
Right. Yeah. So if you are a larger company that maybe has an HR kind of shared services team, those are a lot of times the people that get those flags of where do I, how do I do this? How do I submit a blah, blah, blah? And you're absolutely right. I think auditing what is it that people are saying on a consistent basis and then connecting the dots and going, aha, we need to connect back to our IT team or, again, our third party payroll provider or otherwise and say, there's friction here and this is coming up over and over and over again. And we could do better. We should do better, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in the world of digital tools and AI and all of that, what are your thoughts about this? Because I'm super curious. Why does human connection still matter so much in this realm of employee experience?
Yeah, I think technology can simplify tasks, the redundant things, but when it comes to trust, empathy, compassion, the human element of a business and how people have to manage other people, that human connection is it's gonna vary. I have a small, thought around if that's ever going to get into the AI world. It's the human connection it's so important and it's that trusted part of the experience with people in your business, right? Like you have a payroll issue. Who are you going to go to? How are you going to get the answers? You have a benefit question. You have, a family member that needs to have a surgery done. Are you going to want to talk to a person about that situation, an HR department? So, the human connection is going to still matter for a long time. And AI can make certain functions easier and make it integrated and make you spend way less time in the, administration tasks of your job that will eliminate errors, right? System errors. But at the end of the day, just like we talked about waking up on a Monday morning, are you going to be excited to go work for a company and what they do and how you work in that business? That's going to come from the people you work with.
I 100% agree with this. Actually, I worked with a rather large company, about 10,000 employees, 10,000 contractors, and we helped them develop a brand new employee engagement platform, like a brand new intranet. And we used a tool called Unily. You guys, I'll stick the links in the chat. Everything we talk about today, you'll find over at thesimplifiers.com. But this tool, Unily, was brilliant because it could track back to specific parts on the intranet. So if people are like, how do I submit for PTO? Then you could go into the AI chatbot and ask that question and it goes, oh, here it is. Bing, 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 point it to it. Yep. But to your point, I think that's what's really, really important. The simple answers, the easy things that should be no-brainers, send that to AI to answer and point people to things. But then when you really need a human to human touch, right? My wife's about to go into labor. I need to file for paternity leave. How do I do that? That's where having a human conversation with somebody in HR that can point you to the right direction is that's what you're talking about, right? It's that human support that really improves the employee experience. Let's expand there.
Yep. Yeah, I think the employee experience, when you come and think about the digital experience and the interaction and human connection, employees want to feel heard. They want to feel supported. They want to feel like they're making an impact. And leadership, the confidence in the leadership within your organization and your manager. A lot of people leave a company because of the management. They leave how they're managed or how they're not managed, right? So, I think when you adopt systems and improve the way someone can do their job functions, that's where systems and integrations in AI and using the right technology can really make an impact. But at the end of the day, the way a company communicates to their employees and shows that they feel valued and heard. If you are ever trying to get feedback from your team, how are you doing that? How are you interacting with a team member or your manager and providing that ongoing one-on-one coaching and development and mentorship? So all of that is still within the human connection for the employee experience.
Right. And you reduce the friction of the tedious, repetitive, simple questions by automating that to AI or to your tools that help get them to the answer faster. Yeah. So let's kind of deep dive into the how-to. So let's say you're a company that does have an HR team and an IT person or team, and maybe an operation leader as well. Like, how do those three areas and departments come together to simplify their tech stack without creating more chaos? What would you recommend when pulling those three teams together?
Yeah, it starts with clarity, and it starts with strategy around what's to come in the future for that business. And what are they going to focus on? Is it growth? Is it expansion into other markets? Is it different service models? Is it whatever it might be? Maybe it's a reduction in force. Like, where are they at in their business journey? Right. And then you map out the employee journey first and what people are actually trying to do day to day. And if you have the right people in the right seats, or if you need to restructure that, and look at a SWOT analysis, right? Has a company done a SWOT analysis lately? Find your strengths, your weaknesses, and your opportunities and those threats. And managers can do it within their department. The company can do it at a leadership level. So that can really identify a lot of red flags, a lot of opportunities. And then you try to simplify the workflows. You try to simplify what's out there. Some people may not have workflows. Some people may not have those SOPs written down when, let's say, Susie is, out of work for 6 weeks. Who's doing her work? Does someone know how to do her work? So having that backup plan, right? So the goal isn't just to have fewer tools to reduce the tools. It's to reduce the barriers for the employees and for the managers, and really make it more of a successful integration amongst technology with the clarity of the right tools.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And no matter how big or small your company is, I think you start with a pilot audience first. You go, where is the most friction in the deepest cuts are happening in this department? This team is having the most frustration. You go, okay, I'm going to zoom in on the operations team, let's say, and go, okay, what is their tech stack right now? What are the licenses we've got out there, and who has access to them? Who doesn't need access to them? Like, we're overspending on licenses. And I think that's the process of bringing these three leaders together, HR, IT, and operations, and saying, okay, well, what's working well? What is not working well, and what could we be doing better? Where could we innovate, to make the work faster, better, cheaper, smarter, all of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You have to have a champion behind the technology. And if the HR manager really wants this platform, they think it's the best platform out there for engagement or recognition, But the HR department's not the only one that has to buy into it and learn it and implement it into the organization. It's got to be top to bottom, and it's got to be something that everyone can get behind. And if you can't do that, it's not going to be a successful program, and it's not going to be a successful tool for your business.
Yeah. And it's so interesting. I mean, I have gone through this many times before and had conversations with lots of HR colleagues. They go, whenever they talk about having to upgrade their HRIS system or change their payroll software, it is just a beast for so many in HR, because bless them, and I'm in there too. Maybe IT and the super technical software side is not their strength, and so they get excited about some marketing video and they go, "Oh, this is the thing that's going to solve all our problems." And then the beast of it is the actual integration and implementation, which could sometimes be a 12 to 15 month process, right?
Yeah.
Now, you on the payroll partner side, you've seen it a million times, I'm sure, with clients. Like, what do you tell your non-technical clients when they're considering changing platforms?
Yeah, we try to tell them what the experience would be like. We ask them a lot of questions. We discover and uncover a lot. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion to get to the root cause of problems and pain points and systems and what they've had before. So we really try to see the history of the company and the experience within technology and how we can maybe simplify that. I was a prospect before I became an employee of Payroll Partners for about a year, and I could never get the company I was with to buy into what I was trying to get with Payroll Partners. It was very frustrating. Ended up, I went for a job interview at Payroll Partners, and here I am 4 years later. So, we hear it all. We hear it's the service. We don't get service. We get price increases. And just because the name is a big name company, it doesn't mean you're getting big service, right? So it's really finding all of the pain points and all of the ways that we can potentially help the customer. I love going into a prospect, and we'll go through scenarios like, Tell me how you do this in your system. Tell me how you do this. And to see their eyes just get bigger and be like, oh my gosh, that would make my life so much easier. And it's the simple things. It's how someone requests a day off work, how someone, submits a vacation request, how the manager has to go in and approve that. It's those simple things, how to build a report, right? How to get year-end filing information for whatever taxes. So once we identify all of that and we show a company how we can customize it and give them that level of service ongoing that they want, we're not just going to throw them the system January 10th and say, hey, here you go, you're implemented, you're done, talk to you later. That's not what we do, right? We really figure out, are we going to be the best fit for them? And it really doesn't come down to like the most shiniest, best system out there. It's what can work for your business? How can we integrate that with your business, and where you don't have to change all kinds of different policies and procedures? Let's simplify it, and let's make the system work for you, and potentially really eliminate some systems that they don't even need because they have it all in our system. So it's like a one-stop payroll, HR, timekeeping software. And
I also imagine that as a company grows and evolves, what got you here might not always be what takes you to where you're headed next. And so I imagine that there is a best practices of kind of auditing your tech stack, maybe once every 6 months or so, maybe even once a quarter, just to go, okay, well, here's what we have currently. Where are the friction points? What are we hearing potentially in our employee engagement surveys or the rumblings around the water cooler? And what are quick wins? What are things that we, are tiny finesse points that we can, optimize or change a function inside the software, or bigger initiatives of like, wow, this payroll system is definitely not working for us. And it's just like, we're putting duct tape on all of the holes in the boat that is leaking water. And eventually this boat is going to go under. So, that's where I think you have to really come to Jesus moment of like, okay, we really do need to do an upgrade. And that's a much larger initiative that's going to require budget and planning and all of that. Because I think there are kind of smaller wins you can create along the way without having to sort of throw the baby out with the bathwater. But what are your advice when it comes to businesses that are utilizing tools that are they're limping along and they're doing fine, but maybe they need a bigger upgrade?
Right.
How far out do they plan?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're in July, we're talking to companies about next year already. And a lot of them are going through the process of evaluating systems, who they want to work with, what functionalities there. Obviously, price is a big component. But at the end of the day, a lot of the systems out there are very similar. There's some tools within certain areas of software that might be better looking or flashier or just different, bells and whistles. But if there's some just simple components of a system that someone needs, but it was never implemented the right way, we hear that too. Oh, implementation didn't go well. Now we're looking to leave. We just left that last company 12 months ago. So when we get to the point of like talking to a company about making the change, generally depending on the complexity of it, let's say there's 1,000 employees, 12 locations, whatever, we have to build out that program for them to move. And the project manager, the implementation team, they have to map all that out. But we don't leave the company just high and dry to like, here's your 15 pages of stuff. Go find all of it. I've been there, and it's like a part-time job. We basically say, let us help you find that information. A lot of our people have worked with the companies that they probably currently have, so we know where to get the system data. So getting clean data and accurate data is kind of a big step too, because if you have bad data, you're just going to have bad reports and bad, outcomes. So, we really try to map that out, whether it's a small business, mid-sized business. It's not a cookie cutter kind of thing. It's like building a house, right? You want to have an architect, you want to have a builder, you want to have the right materials. So we're kind of that for software for HR and payroll.
Yeah. And I think also after you've implemented a new tool in the ecosystem of your workforce, the people who are championing it at the beginning are not always the people who actually use it in the end. So I think that there's a piece of the project plan where you really need to bring your learning and development team into the mix and go, hey, we need to have a multi-touch moment and training plan for teaching our workforce on how to use it, because you spend tens of thousands of dollars on implementing a new software. You buy all these licenses and a tree falls in the forest. No one's using it. What a waste. So training, I think, is a huge part of making sure that the people who actually use the tool, and it's not a one-time watch this one 60-minute video and then you're done. It's a multi-touch moment where they learn, they do, and then they teach others to really reinforce that learning. And what are your thoughts on the training part of it all?
That's one of the most important pieces to all of this, because when you have software, it upgrades, it updates. Our software updates every 8 weeks. And we don't expect the client to go through all of those system updates to figure out what's going to impact them. So we do that on our side and say, okay, here's where this is going to impact these companies, whether it's a performance management upgrade or payroll, timekeeping. So, having clients that utilize the system in much of a broad spectrum, it's kind of like not every company is going to see the same updates, right? The look and feel, how you log in, the employee experience might change, how you onboard somebody. So, we have to drill into those updates. We have to create the tools and processes to train the client. So training's so important. We don't ever want a client to feel like they don't have the right, training or education on the program side. And, a lot of clients are in there on a daily basis, so we have to know those HR teams very well. And there's turnover there too, right? Our clients have turnover. So
Yes.
if Sally leaves an HR department and Joe comes in, we're going to have to train Joe. And Joe might not know who we are. Joe might not know payroll partners or what we use. So we have to kind of retrain that person. So the cycle of the employee experience and the staff and leadership at that client level, that's why we're out in front of that and trying to make sure that on a quarterly basis, we're really trying to check in with clients like, hey, has anything changed on your side? Are you hiring somebody new that needs to use the system? So it's an ongoing cycle of a client experience, and I think that's why we really are seeing a lot of client retention on our side because of how ongoing that looks from the client perspective.
Yeah, I think that's super smart. I highly recommend if you have third-party vendors that you're working with, whether it's payroll, employee engagement platforms, et cetera, even your HRIS team, most definitely, that you're meeting with them once a quarter at minimum, and you're having those conversations about what are the company priorities? What from your senior executive team, what did they say is the most important things that our organization is focused on in this fiscal year? And then you work backwards, you reverse engineer and go, okay, if that's what our focus is, these are our revenue targets, this is the area that we're expanding in. What are our tools doing in order to support our workers to do the very best work of their lives, to do that, to achieve those goals and more?
Yeah.
And even back to like we were talking about SOPs, where it's all in Sally's head and nothing is written down. I just highly encourage you guys, if you're listening, you're like, well, I don't even know where to begin. Where you begin is, bring those teams together that have those tools and go, hey, I'm going to set a timer, 7 minutes, and let's talk through all of the tools we use currently, where we find answers for XYZ questions, like maybe what are the top 10 questions we get asked over and over and over again, and start to write it down. And I don't know if you do this with your clients, David, but we, make sure we have a Google Doc and everybody on the team has access to the Google Doc simultaneously. So you can see people typing in and you just start creating them as a team collaborative exercise. I find it's really powerful because then it's getting out of her head, it's getting onto paper. And then at least the team has insight of like, well, wait, why do we do that? Like, let's simplify the process of 6 clicks down to 4 or 3 to get to our answer, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that is so critical. So critical. And the companies that we talk to, they might be currently without an internal HR team, right? Mm-hmm. So, you take that and it's a whole nother complexity of what are they supposed to be doing? How are they supposed to pay people? I mean, you don't want to mess someone's payroll up. It's their livelihood. It's their paying their bills. And you want to lose trust in an employee, pay them wrong and see what happens.
That's the truth. So again, if you're curious about the work that David does in the world, I highly recommend that you check out his website, payrollpartners.com. And also, man, his show is really great, especially if you work in HR. It's called Speak Easy HR. And the website is speakeasyhr.com. All of these links are in the show notes over at thesimplifiers.com. But David, tell me what's 1 or 2 special guests that you've had on recently on Speakeasy that you're like, man, that was so good, that conversation.
Oh my gosh. I've had some amazing conversations over the last couple of years. I just got through 2 years of recording, and I think some of the ones that stand out are some of the people that have written some of the books that I've really, tried to dig into a little more, right? So Kevin Turner recently was on. He was talking all about LinkedIn and the algorithms behind LinkedIn. I had you on episode 75, and so one of them is a book that I'm going through right now, and it's all about having a board of advisors for yourself and how important that is. I feel like every episode, maybe for you too, I don't usually get through an episode of Speakeasy HR without talking about mentorship. And it could be a wide variety of topics, but somehow in that we talk about mentorship. So this is one book that I would highly suggest. It's called Pathfinders by Peter Schramm. Great guy. He is such a brilliant writer and podcast host. So it's called Pathfinders, Navigating Your Career Map with a Personal Board of Advisors.
Love
So
it. Yeah.
take a look at that.
Awesome. Well, we are going to actually flip over into our speed round right now. All the questions that we ask everybody that comes on the podcast. And that actually was one of my questions. Like, what's one book or blog you're reading these days? Is Pathfinders on your nightstand right now?
Pathfinders is on it for sure. There's a lot of them back behind me that I've had on as guests. This one, if you don't know John Bernadovich,
Yes.
he's a great guy. They just released Payroll Like a Boss, so HR Like a Boss. Awesome, awesome stuff by John Bernadovich and his co-author Timmy with Payroll Like a Boss. So check those out.
Yeah, awesome. We have had John on the podcast about 6 months ago or so. I'll link that up in the show notes so you guys can see that.
Yeah.
So tell me, who's somebody in your network, somebody that you know personally that you just feel is up to brilliant things? We could shine a spotlight on them, and who knows, maybe one day we'll have them on the podcast. Who would that be?
So I'm going back to episode 18 of my podcast, which was December in 2024. She started a company called Beyond Neurodiversity, and Samantha Kelly is local to Cincinnati, Ohio area with me here. I live in Kentucky, but she's in the region, and she's going in and talking about neurodivergent individuals and how to work with them better, and how people have different training and just ways that they work, and having different ADHD and some of these things that are really impacting how people learn and develop in their career. And so some people just don't understand that. So she really breaks that down very well. So I would check her out. I can obviously share your with your guests or your audience her information, and I'll send that to you. But yeah, Sammy Kelly is doing amazing things.
It's so needed right now too, especially, well, we'll link her up in the show notes for everybody. Again, head over to thesimplifiers.com and you'll find information about her. So I believe gratitude and simplicity go hand in hand. Tell me, what are you grateful for today?
Family. Family is everything. Going on a vacation earlier this month with my wife's family to Myrtle Beach. Just an amazing time to be together with family, and I get a chance to see her family a lot because they're local here. My family's in Michigan, but just having time with them, and don't take it for granted, because you just never know. So hug your family members, tell them you love them, and that's definitely what I'm grateful for.
And I'm so grateful that you and I have crossed paths in this year. I think you're an incredibly smart guy, and I love these conversations. So my final question for you is this. Someone somewhere is listening to us right now, and let's face it, she is looking at a massive payroll software upgrade in the year ahead, and she is having that existential dread of like, oh, it's gonna be so hard and painful, and but she knows she wants to make the work tech better. What's one thing you could whisper into her ear right now just to encourage her in this moment?
There's better options, better service, and we'll help you along the way, and we'll be there as long as we need to make it better for you and your business.
Yeah, so choose the right partner.
Yeah.
David, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much for having me, Mary. This was great.